What if the most dangerous man in New York finally ran out of reasons to be dangerous? That is where The Punisher: One Last Kill begins. Frank Castle, a man built on pain, war, and revenge. The last time we saw him, he was locked inside one of Wilson Fisk's cages at the end of Daredevil Born Again Season 1. And when Season 2 arrived, he was gone. No Punisher, no Frank Castle. No answers. Until now. We open inside a dark, suffocating apartment in New York City. Silence, broken only by heavy breathing. Frank Castle is alone, shirtless, bearded, broken. His apartment walls are covered with photos of criminals, every face crossed out, every name already punished. But something is wrong. Frank is not in control anymore. He's doing pull-ups until his hands bleed, drinking alcohol, taking pills like they mean nothing. Then he looks at his reflection and smashes the mirror. But what's worse than the violence outside is the violence inside his mind. Suddenly, Frank is not alone. Ghosts appear. His Marine brothers, his fallen friends, Curtis Hoyle, even his wife and children. They whisper, they accuse, they scream. Frank collapses mentally as the room turns into a battlefield of memories. And in a shocking moment, he grabs a knife and hurts himself just to feel real again. But then, something changes. Curtis's voice cuts through the chaos. "Talk to me." And for the first time, Frank listens. Frank packs everything: weapons, gear, memories. He leaves his apartment behind. But outside, New York is not better. It's worse. Little Sicily has collapsed. No law, no order. People are attacked in broad daylight. A homeless man's dog is killed in the street while no one stops it. Frank sees it all, but he does nothing. And that silence is terrifying, because the Punisher is gone. Or so it seems. But something is about to pull him back, and no one is ready for what that will unleash. But what happens next changes everything. Frank walks through chaos like a ghost. Gunfire, screams, violence everywhere. But he doesn't react. It's like he's already dead inside. He enters a small donut shop. Inside, a young girl sits quietly while her parents try to keep the place running. For a moment, it feels normal, almost peaceful. Then a drug addict storms in, screaming. Chaos builds. The owner tries to calm things down. He even offers Frank free coffee. But Frank refuses and walks back into the madness outside. And this is where things shift. Because the city outside is no longer just crime. It becomes a war zone inside Frank's mind. Helicopters, gunfire, screaming Marines. Reality and memory start blending together. Frank is losing his grip. Then he arrives at the cemetery. His wife, his children, the people he lost everything for. He sits in front of their graves. And for the first time, he speaks honestly. "I don't know what I'm supposed to do anymore. I killed everyone, but you're still gone." And then, it happens. Frank raises a gun to his own head. This is it, the end of the Punisher. But his memories stop him. His children, his wife, his life before the war. But those memories twist into something horrifying. Blood, screams, death repeating itself. Frank breaks down, and just before he pulls the trigger, his daughter appears. She waves, she smiles. Frank reaches out, but she disappears. And that's when the truth becomes clear. Frank Castle doesn't want revenge anymore. He doesn't want peace either. He wants something he cannot have: purpose. And that emptiness is dangerous, because someone is about to fill it with blood, and no one sees it coming.
Frank returns to his apartment, but something is waiting for him. A woman in a wheelchair, calm, controlled, dangerous. She introduces herself, and then she tells Frank something shocking. Her family was destroyed, just like his. But here is the twist. She is from the Gnucci family, a crime empire Frank already wiped out, and she is here for revenge. Not justice, revenge. She doesn't scream, she doesn't beg, she simply says, "You took everything from me, and now I will take everything from you." Then she leaves, and a bounty is placed on Frank Castle's life. Every killer in the city is coming. Inside his apartment, Frank is not alone again. Karen Page appears, or at least his mind thinks she does. She tells him he is lost, that he failed his family, that he failed the city. Frank quietly asks, "Are you really here?" For a moment, it feels real. She almost kisses him. Then she vanishes. And that's when hell begins. Gasoline is poured under Frank's door. A match is lit. Fire spreads. And Frank Castle finally wakes up. He explodes through the door. The Punisher is back. And what follows is pure chaos. Frank fights through floors of attackers, stairs, hallways, balconies. Every weapon becomes part of him. He's stabbed, shot, burned, but he does not stop. He cannot stop. The building becomes a war zone. Bodies fall, walls break, screams echo through every floor. And Frank keeps going higher because the real enemy is still watching, the Gnucci woman. But then something interrupts everything. A child is in danger. Frank has a choice: kill the woman or save an innocent life. And for the first time in a long time, he chooses the innocent, and that changes everything. Frank storms the donut shop. Inside, chaos explodes. But this time, it's different. He's not just killing, he's protecting. He fights through attackers brutally, fast, efficient, controlled. No hesitation, but also no emptiness. Something inside him has shifted. He saves the child. He saves the family. And for a moment, everything is quiet. The girl gives him a flower, a simple gift. But for Frank Castle, it means more than anything he's ever received. He returns to the cemetery, places the flower on his daughter's grave, and whispers, "Maybe I'm not done yet." And then it happens. Frank puts the Punisher armor back on. The skull returns. The symbol returns. The monster returns. But this time, something is different. He's not just hunting criminals. He's choosing who gets to live in a broken world. In the final moments, Frank saves an elderly couple, kills the man responsible for earlier chaos, and walks away into the night. The Punisher is back. Not healed, not fixed, but awake. And the story ends not with closure, but with a warning. Because Frank Castle's war is never finished. It just changes targets. So what does this mean for the future? This special acts as a bridge to Frank's next appearance in Spider-Man: Brand New Day. But more importantly, it reminds us of one thing. Frank Castle is not a hero. He is not a villain. He's something far more dangerous. A man who believes the world only works when someone makes it pay. If you enjoyed this breakdown, subscribe for more movie explanations, hidden details, and story breakdowns like this. And tell me in the comments, was Frank Castle finally healed? Or did he just wake up again?